What is going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and the Kizuna Clash has now gone live, so this is your opportunity now to go ahead and play the new content, go ahead and pick up a bunch of Super Evolution skulls, or previously released skulls or characters that you haven't picked up yet via the Kizuna Exchange. So, in this content here, we are going against the 10-star difficulty. There will be a separate video that will be uploaded, taking on the Super Boss with just my first initial teams. We have two different teams for each variation of this boss, starting things off here with the versus quick variation. The team that you're seeing here is the exact same team that we talked about in the preparation video, and we will have a secondary team that we'll talk about in just a moment. Of course, this is only just essentially the first couple of levels, so the gimmicks are going to be pretty straightforward, at least compared to what you're going to experience once you get to level 31 and above. The Jinbei friend captain is going to be really nice here. I would ideally suggest most of you guys out there to build with Kizuna Jinbei as a friend, as it gives you more tickets and more super boss tokens and stuff by using him as the friend. So it does make things a lot more smooth if you do aim to take on the super boss or just to hoard more tickets for this event, especially if you're not really a part of a strong alliance. Having as many super boss coins and tickets as possible is going to be the best way forward. So we talked about extensively in the previous video, the preparation video, in terms of how this team actually functions, and overall does a pretty decent job. So I'll leave you guys with this clip, and we'll go ahead and pick things up once we get to the secondary clip against this boss. Moving on to our secondary team here, we're going to be using Atlas as our captain, and once again using Jinbei as the friend. Now, in terms of how this team is working, Atlas performs the same kind of role as what Rayleigh and Gamban does as a friend captain. Atlas is fantastic because they have a special that will remove attack down. Well, the captain ability removes attack down, which is the important thing. But there are other abilities as to why Atlas is so good. Atlas's special allows you to remove the damage reduction based orb effect that the enemy will inflict once they get to level 31 and above, where they take less damage from type slots and all of that. Atlas just removes that, which is fantastic. Now, in terms of the other characters on this team, we have the Perispero, which does allow us to use the special abilities, you know, on this stage right here, and then we can use, so we use Perispero to give us cooldown reduction to deal with the special reverse. Not really needed, because we do need to use Jinbei here on stage 2, and, you know, you don't really need to, you know, have Perispero, but you do need a full Cerebral team in order for Atlas to get access to her super class ability, which is kind of important. One thing I would probably advise as well is to use Crocodile on stage 2 to carry that buff into stage 3, especially once you get later on into this event. And then we do have the York. York is pretty important because it will change the bottom row slots into recovery, which allows us to get through the barrier once we get into deeper levels of the Kizuna Clash. There is also the Sai Kuma. The reason why we bring him is because he has the ability to remove a ton of despair. So once level 31 and above occurs, having his special ability with double special launch is going to be very important. And the other key thing about using Kuma and the Crocodile on this team is they both have crewmate abilities to resist blowaway, which is exactly what occurs on this final stage. Your bottom row gets blown away, so having those characters with those crewmate abilities helps us resist that debuff. Moving on to the secondary variation now against the INT boss. This is the team that we talked about in my team prep against the 10-star difficulty, and we're using a really cool strategy here with the Fubar character, which is in the bottom left. By activating his special ability before we reach stage 2, it will basically kind of avoid the debuff that we would normally get inflicted with on stage 2, just meaning that we will have our slots as naturally matching. We don't have to worry about the enemy giving us badly matching slots, not really going to be an issue. And then with everything said and done and the enemy changing our slots around, we are enabling us to generate psi slots with our support effect as well, which is kind of nice. But being able to just generate those slots is really powerful, because having the ability to just get these psi slots to break through the psi slot barrier on the enemy side of the field is quite nice. I do want to make sure we have some type of damage on this stage, which is why I use the Shanks EX Super. And then when you reach the final stage, we do have Boa Hancock to deal with the special reverse that we are inflicted with. Now, one thing to note that I did screw up on my initial run of this is I actually forgot the fact that I needed to use Shanks special first and then use the Luffy special. The enemy reacts to any orb changing mechanics that you activate. So if you activate Shanks' special to give you a full board of psi slots, the enemy will change your slots around. Not really change the slots around. That's not what it does. It gives you paralysis. It's like 11 turns of paralysis, and you want to save Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji for when you're inflicted with that debuff, because they can remove 10 turns of that, and then with the support of Nami, we can remove a further 1 turn of that paralysis. And then of course we have Mihawk here just because he's the homie. Basically, he does remove attack down, which is going to be important later on. Moving on to our final team is going to be another team versus INT. Of course, we're going to be using Gear 5 Luffy. Gear 5 Luffy, phenomenal captain, resisting bind, resisting special reverse, being able to bypass enemy defensive effects. It just allows you to build your team more freely in regards to just not having to worry about certain gimmicks, because Luffy essentially deals with most of them. Now, for this team, we are running the Sai Yamato here, which is quite good, because on stage 2, when you're inflicted with those slots that are treated as badly matching, what you can do is activate some type of effect that changes your slots into matching, and then what you can do is activate the Yamato special, which changes all of your matching and block slots into Wano. And then by having the support Jinbei attached to Yamato, it enables us to lock our slots so that we can keep the Wano slots for stage 2 and also for stage 3. We still have to deal with that psi slot barrier, but we can do that via the EX Super of Gear 5 Luffy, and being able to bypass it is really, really strong. The Robin special, I don't remember off the top of my head if we do need Robin for the final stage. Once we get to level 31 and above, I'll have to report back on that one. But on this, when we reach the final stage, we just have so much damage. Between Luffy's color affinity and or orb boost, we have Momonosuke for his attack boost. You could also use Ace's orb boost first if you want to, but you could also, use Luffy first and then use Ace special, which actually amplifies the color affinity boost that Gear 5 Luffy gives you. So yeah, just the combo of these characters is quite strong. Probably would recommend to use Luffy first, because that enables Ace's special to give you an ignited conditional boost, just enabling you to get more and more damage on this boss fight. So that's going to wrap it up for me. As I said, I will upload a secondary video coming up very shortly against the 15-star Super Boss Kizuna Clash, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.